The book, you know what he said to me? Yes, you will. I said, why? He said, that's what you do. He said, I cut hair and you write books. And you know what? I wrote another book. He's right. What, I should be intimidated by a tin horn lawyer? I should be intimidated by a government agent who doesn't have a scintilla of talent? I'm not going to be intimidated by people who don't have my talent into trying to mock me. I won't do it. I won't fall for that. So anyway, to go back to the show, I'll take some calls. I'll give you additional insights in how the Gestapo was born and what Obama and Loretta Lynch and the left wing is trying to do to our local police. You've heard other people say, yeah, they're trying to federalize the police. Fine, I said it before anyone else. But today I gave you the details of it. I just didn't give you the golfer's vision of it. I didn't give you a golf view on a golf course. I gave you the details of how the Gestapo was born under Adolf Hitler and Hermann Goring. And I showed you the comparisons between Barack Obama and Loretta Lynch. I showed you step by step, plan by plan, day by day. Now, if it's too much for you, I accept that. I accept it. I look around, I see people in the streets. They don't want to know any of this. I have neighbors who are the biggest idiots I've ever seen in my life. They don't listen to the radio. They don't watch television. They actually proudly say, well, I don't watch TV news. I don't listen to no radio. I only listen to NPR. Good for you. Good for you. National Public Radio. You mean National Obama Radio, don't you? You remember there was a day when the Republican Party tried to defund NPR? What happened to those days? Why would they defund NPR a number of years ago? Because they knew that it was an unfair advantage that they had. They could run a station with talentless fools who they pay extraordinary salaries with no ads and get super high ratings. If I did 3 hours of radio with no ads, my ratings would be double. Do you know that? Think about that. Think about the disadvantage we have in commercial radio. Because of the wonderful sponsors we have lower ratings than those without sponsors. So those schmucks who are on NPR think they're geniuses because they have a 4-share with no advertisers interrupting their flow of Obama propaganda. So I want you to understand something. Without my advertisers, there'd be no show. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Your Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com. It's the only company I trust for tangible assets, gold and silver. Call 800-BUI-COIN. Here's another story. The Department of Justice official says slavery to blame for riots in Ferguson and Baltimore. I'm not making it up. A creature called Vanita Gupta, head of the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, Sieg Heil, has told a lawyers group in Colorado that slavery and Jim Crow helped fuel the Ferguson and Baltimore riots. And then they attacked the local police again. Goes along with my main story. Every way they can, they attack the police and attack the the dominant culture of the society. Let's go to the callers. Akil on my hometown station of San Francisco, KSFO. Akil, welcome to the program. What's on your mind?
How you doing, Dr. Savage? First off, I'd like to say you changed my thought process of Democrat and Republican, conservative. My dad used to listen to you, and it's funny. He passed. It's funny that I listen to you now. But what I really want to talk about is I'm a black American, and the hypocrisy I see within the black community that's going on.
No, first of all, you had a father, number one, at home who listened to the radio with you. That's a huge difference, not only in the black community, but every community. How many white fathers are home listening to the radio with their kids? I doubt many are. But the thing is, you have your own views of the world. So where's the hypocrisy in the African American community in your mind?
Is that we're sitting up here, it's like we're taught to blame the white man. Yes, we know that there's racism. It's racism with every race and culture.
Thank you. Right. That's a fact of reality. Most races like their own race.
Exactly. And the thing we don't understand is we're killing ourselves. Young black men, we're killing each other. You know, there's no fathers in the home. And then,
All right, I understand. So you feel that blaming the white man for the problems of the black community is a complete red herring. It has no meaning whatsoever.
I wouldn't say it doesn't have no meaning, but we can't just keep holding on to that.
Right. So how does it help you to walk around feeling that is what you're saying? I don't know how it advances anything.
It doesn't.
I think that's what you're saying. Yeah, there are injustices, and there were worse injustices. But to walk around remembering that and carrying that around in your head like it's the only thing in your life basically advances nothing and imprisons the person. I think that is what you're trying to say. Would that be a fair analogy of what you're trying to say?
Yes, it is. And then just real quick.
Wait, hold on. I just want to make sure that I'm not paraphrasing you in an inaccurate manner. So I appreciate that fact. When did your father pass?
He passed about 3 years ago.
And how old was he when he died?
He was 68. So
he was a young man. So you grew up listening to me on KSFO in San Francisco with your father saying, "Listen to this guy. He's not so bad."
Yes, sir.
He said, probably said he's not so. I bet he said he's not so bad for a white man.
Well, he.
I bet he said that at some time, right?
Yeah, he never looked at it that way. He said,
"No, I'm serious." You know what he liked? He liked the reality. He knew that with me, he was going to get it like it is. Meaning, at least this guy says what he thinks. I think that's what he liked about the show. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
In other words, he says it like he sees it. So if you agree, you agree. You don't agree, you don't agree. But at least you have a chance to react to the guy because he's not giving you the BS job. I'm sorry, but there goes the clock again. I'm sending you a wonderful gift. Countdown to Mecca hardcover. It'll arrive in your house. You'll have a wonderful, wonderful read over the long Memorial Day weekend. God, I don't know what I'm going to do. You think I'm going to cook a hot dog, a burger, play with the dog? Yeah, probably. Watch television, grouse about the world. Yeah, that's what I'll probably do.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE. 855-400-7282. Savage.
If we as a society aren't willing to deal honestly with issues of race, then we can't just expect police departments to solve these problems. If communities are being isolated and segregated without opportunity and without investment and without jobs.
Why is he stirring the pot of racial enmity in America? Have we ever had a president who's done this on such a regular basis? What does he hope to achieve by stirring up racial enmity in America? Those are three questions I would ask you to think about over the next few days. And the only conclusions you can come up with are bad. There's no conclusion that is good. It's all bad. It's all demagoguery. It's what he has used to get where he is today. He's going to continue doing it until the day he leaves office. If he leaves office, which is becoming increasingly doubtful, given the fact that there is no opposition party and virtually no opposition to anything he does. Nothing. Zero. Nada. Gornished. Zilch. Nothing. Nothing. Even his trade deal with Asia, which is a complete sellout of the working person in America. The unions opposed it. Real liberals still oppose it. The Republicans are for it, and he's for it. So what does that tell you? It tells you that he's a Machiavellian grand illusionist. He pretends he's for the downtrodden and the poor, but he is actually answering only to those with 414-foot yachts, like Paul Allen, who was in Cannes after the festival, in the film festival. He had a party on his yacht where all of the other downtrodden masses partied the night away on Paul Allen's 414-foot yacht. There was Sean Penn, who talks against guns, who glorifies guns and beatings and knivings and stabbings. His new girlfriend is the woman who portrayed a vicious killer in one movie after another, Charlize Theron. Classic liberals, classic Gulfstream liberals, partying the night away. So the fact of the matter is, those are Obama's friends. That's his real constituency. They fund him. They fund the Republican Party. There's no difference between the two parties when it comes to the funding of the two parties. The only difference is that they want more power than they already have because Power corrupts absolutely, and Obama is absolutely corrupted if you look at him. And so he will use any form of demagoguery to advance his power structure. Whether it's him or his own minions, it doesn't really matter. The power structure that is his will remain in place after he's out of office. Look at Bill Clinton. How long is that criminal, how long has that ex-president been out of office? Has he given up any power? Look what he's done since he was president. Take a look at what Bill Clinton did since he was president. Has he really stopped what he was doing as president? No, only now he's profiting from it personally. In other words, the very same Machiavellian maneuvers that Clinton was using before he's doing now, only he's getting paid to do it and sticking it in the library, the slush fund. Instead of putting it all into his kitty, he puts it into the library and withdraws from it as needed. It's a bank. In other words, the Clinton Foundation is a bank. And you take from it as you need it. And you pay no taxes on it until you withdraw from it. You don't. Let's say a man gives you $10 million, like George Staphylococcus, whatever he gave him, 75 grand. God knows more will come up soon. Let's say a guy gives him $10 million. It doesn't go into Clinton's pocket. You have to pay taxes on it. So it goes into the library, it's tax-free, and he withdraws it as he needs it for his own expenses, an airplane ride, a this, a party, a that, It's a bank, a tax-free bank. You only get taxed on the way when you withdraw money from it. So has Clinton stopped doing what he was doing? No. He's just doing it for personal profit. Obama will not stop when he leaves office, if he leaves office. His agenda, his radical anti-white agenda will continue, and it'll be rich whites who are funding it. Isn't that interesting? You want another comparison from history? Unfortunately, I have to go back to Germany again. Yes, I'm sorry, there's an awful lot to be learned from history. Who do you think it was who funded Adolf Hitler in the beginning? Huge industrialists like the Krupp Steel Works. Now, why did the Krupp Steel Works go with this street agitator, Adolf Hitler? Because they saw he was the future. And they figured if he was going to run the country, they wanted to make sure they were on the right side of him. And so they profited greatly, the Krupp Steel Works, in the rearmament of Germany. After all, they were building the planes, the ships, the tanks, the artillery, the ammunition. So Krupp loved him. What was a problem for Hitler in the beginning was that he was a socialist, National Socialism. Never forget he was a socialist. Okay, but he wasn't a real socialist. The real socialists were those in the SA. Ernst Röhm was a pure, 100% pure socialist. And he came to fight with Hitler once he had seized absolute power. Once Hitler had achieved absolute power, Ernst Röhm, the gay head of the SA, the stormtroopers, got into a real power struggle with Hitler because Ernst Röhm and his SA wanted pure socialism. They did not want to reward the capitalists, for example, in Krupp Steel Works. Hitler couldn't accept that. Hitler was far more intelligent than the brown shirts. He wasn't a purist by any means. He was just a maniac who wanted pure power and had hatred for certain races and certain people. So what happened? He killed SA leadership on the night of the Long Knives. He took over the SA and dissolved them into the SS because he no longer had, at that point, he no longer had the competition of those purists who wanted pure socialism, who wanted to disconnect with the industrialists like Krupp Steel Works. Maybe that's a little too long for you in the seminar tonight. I get it. And I have to ask myself every day, how far do you really want to go with this? How much of the history that I know do I want to share with you? Some of you love it. You eat it up. You say, that's great. Some of you say, it's enough already. Talk about the dog. And I get it. It's a big show. I got to deal with the intellectual. I got to deal with this Joe Sixpack. I got to deal with the angry minority. I got to deal with the illegal immigrant who hears 1 out of 12 words. I got to deal with the children. I got to deal with the infirm. This is what you do when you're in a public place. Never forget that as familial and as friendly as I may sound to you, I am fundamentally, I'm a broadcaster, broadcasting my ideas, casting broadly my ideas, casting broadly my ideas across America and through the internet now across the world. So there's an audience of millions of people. We all have that in the national level. Some have more millions than others, but it's millions. It doesn't matter how many millions. And amongst the millions, you have the very well-educated, very critical, very cynical, a very well-read audience. You have all the way down to the illiterate audience. And then below them, you have those who simply support Republicans and attack Democrats. That is the base audience of talk radio. Republican good. Oh, Republican good? Why, we once owned California.